Have you ever wondered which Pokemon eat the most? In this video, we're going to go over the top 10 most gluttonous Pokemon. Starting off with number 10. The stomach Pokemon, Gulpin. Although small in stature, this Pokemon's body is made up of almost only its stomach. Because of this, Gulpin can swallow just about anything its own size. It also has harsh digestive juices that quickly dissolve anything it swallows, making room for more food that Gulpin can gulp down. Moving along to our number 9 spot, we have the mouse Pokemon, Alolan Raticate. Now, unlike most Pokemon, Alolan Raticate doesn't search for its own food. Instead, it has hordes of Alolan Rattatas gather food for it, in which it then will only feast upon the most delicious and nutritious of them all. Its Pokédex entry states that its nest is filled with so much food that it can't possibly eat it all. The number 8 spot on our list is home to another rodent, the appropriately named greedy Pokemon, Greedent. Unlike Alolan Raticate, Greedent doesn't seem to be as picky when it comes to food. It will greedily gather and eat as many berries as it can hold, even going as far as using its tail to stash away more berries for later. Greedent loves nothing more than to gather as many berries as possible, even stopping mid-battle to gather berries if there is a berry tree nearby. Its Pokédex entry states that since it stashes so many berries in its tail, that they constantly fall out. However, Greedent is a bit slow-minded, so it doesn't notice the loss. We have a bit of a sleeper pick at number 7, that being the lazy Pokemon, Slacking. Although it lounges around all day, it does have one activity, eating. Slacking will eat all the grass surrounding it, and will only move to another spot when there is no more food within its reach. According to Slacking's Emerald Pokédex entry, hordes of them will gather around trees when fruit come into season, in which they will patiently wait for the ripened fruit to fall. Although arguably the least active Pokemon on this list, Slacking surely holds its own amongst the rest of these gluttons. Topping the bottom half of this list at number 6 is the gulp Pokemon, Cramorant. This Pokemon will swallow its prey whole, with its prey of choice being Aerocuda. Because of its gluttonous nature, every once in a while Cramorant will make a mistake and try to swallow a Pokemon other than its preferred prey. For example, it has been known to try and unsuccessfully swallow a Pikachu. At number 5, we have the poison bag Pokemon, Swalot. Much like its namesake, this Pokemon can swallow a lot of things. This is due to its abnormally cavernous mouth that can easily fit a whole car tire inside. Swalot doesn't have any teeth, so it swallows everything it eats whole, which, like we saw with Cramorant, can cause problems if the Pokemon gets too greedy with their food intake. However, Swalot's body, like Gulpin's, produces enzymes that can dissolve anything, which can quickly make room for more meals. Up next, we have a Pokemon that might surprise you. At number 4, it's the rock skin Pokemon, Larvitar. Standing at 2 feet tall, this Pokemon doesn't look like much of an eater, but in fact, it starts eating as soon as it's born. Larvitar are born deep underground, in which the only way to surface is to eat all of the soil surrounding it. Now that might not sound like much of a challenge. However, if this Pokemon wants to evolve, it has to consume an entire large mountain. Larvitar literally changes the topography of regions that it's born in. Keeping with the trend of 2-foot-tall buffet bandits, we have at number 3 the big eater Pokemon, Munchlax. As its name suggests, this Pokemon is constantly eating food. It will eat anything that looks edible, practically swallowing everything whole. Although Munchlax stores food under the long fur on its body, it tends to forget about it when it's constantly gulping down its meals. It will gorge itself until it has eaten equal to its weight in food, that being around 230 pounds of food each and every day, making this Pokemon a true heavyweight fitting of its spot on the list. Our number 2 spot on this list goes to the evolution of Munchlax, the sleeping Pokemon, Snorlax. Its day consists of eating and sleeping, so much so that it will continue to eat even while it sleeps. Much like its pre-evolution, Snorlax will eat anything that looks edible, and doesn't care if it's moldy or gone rotten, as its body's digestive juices can dissolve any kind of poison. What sets this Pokemon apart from its pre-evolution is the sheer amount of food it consumes. Snorlax topples Munchlax's 230 pounds of food a day by almost quadrupling it, not being satisfied unless it has eaten around 900 pounds of food each and every day. Now, before we get to the number 1 glutton on our list, let's take a look at some honorable mentions. Starting with the pig Pokemon, Swinub. Swinub has a very sensitive nose and will rub its snout on the ground to find and dig up food. If it smells something enticing, it will run off in the direction that the aroma is coming from, making Swinub quite the scavenger type. Next, we have the little bear Pokemon, Teddiursa. This Pokemon loves honey and will even go as far as soak its own paws in it. Doing so makes it able to continuously lick its paws and taste the sweetness of the honey. If you'd ask me, I'd say Teddiursa has quite the serious sweet tooth. The last of our honorable mentions is the water bird Pokemon, Pelipper. Pelipper gathers its food by skimming the tops of water as it flies by. Its giant beak can hold upwards of 30 or more wishy-washy all at once, almost a full school's worth, which Pelipper then swallows in one big gulp. Now, for the moment you've been waiting for, the number 1 Pokemon glutton is the Junkivore Pokemon, Guzzlord. This Pokemon, like most on the list, is constantly eating. Although, instead of only eating actual food, Guzzlord will eat anything, as it's known to consume entire mountains and even whole buildings to satiate its hunger, making it the biggest and most dangerous glutton of all. And that rounds up my list of the top 10 most gluttonous Pokemon. If you have any suggestions of Pokemon that I might have missed, leave your thoughts down below.